me.
Yeah, for right now, this very moment.
Yes. I believe. You should tilt your camera down just a little bit. Getting that big Sunday night room light is coming through.
Hold on.
That big light. That big Sunday light. Oh shit.
Well,
Did
now
we
it
just
looks
turn
like
the temperature?
I'm fucking podcasting in the fucking dark.
Well, how is your lamp pumped up high enough? Oh yeah. Look at that mood lighting.
I don't know.
It's weird. Like we don't record at night for a long time.
Yeah.
Been a minute. I kind of like it in terms of like the energy. Like we've been through a whole day today. I mean, obviously the morning's easier because you can knock shit out. There's something about the nighttime and the Sunday scaries. Except I don't have to work tomorrow.
Wow.
So I'm sorry.
I do.
I
do.
I know, but at least it's from home.
I guess.
So how much money did we win today at football?
Well, I am up. I think I'm up $25. I think.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
I would have been up if the 49ers didn't just blow it at the end.
Would they?
They did.
What?
You know?
Would you? What did you parlay, or did you just straight bet something?
Yeah. Niners, Bills, and Broncos all together. It was looking good to the last 12 seconds. Yep.
So, Niners were favored. Bills were favored. Atlanta was favored, or were Broncos?
I don't remember, but I thought it was still brave to take the Bills. I think if you root or choose anything in Western New York, it's brave. It's just the way it is.
Right. You're like, this Western New York team will definitely prosper when it comes down to it.
Yeah. You're taking your chances.
Yeah. No, the Raiders are no longer the last team, the most recent team to beat the Chiefs from Christmas Day of last year. That's the one thing the Raiders could hang their hat on, is they were the last team to beat the Chiefs before about 10 minutes ago.
Well, I guess I'll say I appreciate you rearranging your schedule to do a nighttime recording, even though it does affect your day. But let me be the first to say it's not unheralded.
I think it's
funny. I acknowledge your decision.
Because you texted me at like 1 a.m. as if I was going to respond. Like the vibe of it sounded like you were expecting it. I'm like, oh no, I was asleep in a bed.
I knew that immediately. I just wanted you to have that message when you woke up. What's even funnier is that I sent you a message at like 9:00 p.m. that was like, hey, what time do you want to record? 9 a.m.? Perfect. And then at 10 o'clock, I made a fantastic decision, which was, and it's part of therapy and it's part of like me growing as a person is that, you got to do things. Because when I got home yesterday, I was like, I should go out and do something, like go out to whatever, go get food, go to a bar, go put myself in a classically uncomfortable social situation. But because ultimately, usually, as we've talked about at length on this program, they can be worthwhile. So after I texted you and established that we would have a 9 a.m. podcast, then I decided I forgot on Saturday nights, there's a karaoke session going on at one of the breweries downtown. And there's a guy that I always say to him, hey, I will go there one of these nights. And so then I did go there at like 10 o'clock. And then there was like a bunch of Brits there, like a soccer team singing a bunch of songs. So I couldn't get on the list because they had hogged it all. But they sang some Oasis, and we had a big old romp about it. And they were also young, and they were like, how do you know this song? And I was like, I have this on cassette tape. Listen to last week's show. Jeez, come on, catch up.
Wait, hold on. Back up. Hold on. Back up. Yeah. A bunch of British soccer players were in Auburn, New York. You're throwing that around like as if it's a classic. Like, well, and as we know, Auburn is a hot spot on Saturday nights for British soccer players that like karaoke. No. What?
True. I think they were there to play against CCC. Like they're probably doing some kind of like states tour, like going in through and playing like. They're probably younger. They're probably like a real program, and they go around and beat up on little community colleges. And their teams or something like that. Yeah,
sure.
They come for a tour. But yeah, they were like, "Oh, Oasis, you've heard of them?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, aren't they like the Beatles?" And I was like being clearly sarcastic, and they're like, "No, they're." I was like, "I know who they are. I was there. I was. Like the Beatles. I had them on cassette tape before you were born."
Why would someone young wonder why someone older knows about a music that's older? Doesn't that seem silly? Or are they just like, Americans know Oasis? What? Mm-hmm. Is that the vibe? Like, that's what they were insinuating? They're like, you're an American. Hoity-toity-toy. I don't know. I'm not even trying to do a British accent because I just don't care, but it
makes me wonder, Wall.
Oh, that's fucking I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this.
But yeah, so I went out, and after karaoke, the session, I went over to Swabby's, as one does, because there was like a few women at the karaoke bar, and they were talking to me. Dude, they actually talked to me.
Wow.
But they were like, well, it was a weird question that one girl asked like 3 times. She was like, wait, you came here, are you here with somebody? And I was like, no. What do you... No, she's like, you came here by yourself? And I was like, yeah. Like,
Alone?
I don't understand. Are you trying to like make fun of me, or are you trying to be like, I would never? I don't know. I couldn't tell the vibe. If it was like, why would you ever go somewhere by yourself and try to do anything? That's more the vibe.
I genuinely think people are surprised when someone's out by themselves. It is not a common thing. Like, unless you're like shopping or doing something like that, like going to a social area, I think does blow some people's minds if you go by yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's like my whole thing. It's part of it.
I'm a loner, Dottie.
Hey,
a rebel.
When you get in a relationship with me, you don't see me. You I go out alone. That's fun. Just be ready for it. Yeah. Whoever you are someday.
Oh, you're going to go out alone until you get in a relationship? No, I'm still going to go out alone if I'm in a relationship. This is me time.
Yep. But then they were leaving, and so I was like, oh, we'll go, or I don't know, I was like, go to Swabby's, because that thing was closing, and, we'll catch a nightcap, and sure enough, the super producer himself was there on his way out, tapped me on the shoulder, and I was like, hey, thanks for inviting me here tonight. I wouldn't have had to go out alone tonight if you guys would have hit me up with that message. Mm-hmm. And then they hung out. So yeah, we hung out with super producer Steve and his lady, and talked a lot of business. It was mostly business, business related. Talked a lot of 1995 films.
Oh, man.
But then also, as we were sitting there hanging, look up on the TV. He goes, dude, look. And I was like, and it was The Feud. The Feud was on TV.
Wow.
And we were like...
At the bar on Saturday evening?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like, fuck, we got to play Reverse Family Feud. And I don't remember how it went exactly, but I know we did a little dollop. We dolloped a little into it. Yeah. So it was a good night for it.
How appropriate.
So I thought, in the interest of what I'm guessing is going to be one of our shortest podcasts ever, because it's on a Sunday night, let's jump into a feud category.
Okay.
And This one, there's a couple weird ones. So I literally typed in for this one Family Feud categories that were used on the show.
Okay.
Are they real or not? I don't know. But People Magazine seems to think they were.
Okay.
And they just named John Krasinski the sexiest man alive 15 years after his boom.
Yeah, right? So, that's interesting.
Yeah. I wish the cover of the magazine just had him like,
Yeah, just looking over, shrugging.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a couple categories here. We'll rip through. We'll get the energy going here. And for people that are just tuning in, this is the Reverse Family Feud, where I give Jeff the answers to Family Feud categories from the lowest to the highest, and he tries to guess what the category is. It's as simple as that. This one's fun because you might get it quickly, but I think it'll be fun to figure out what the number one answers are. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 answers. 8 answers on the board. The 8th answer is section with 4. Section 4.
Why? Oh my God. What do you call a segment of something? I don't know. That's such a weird word. Oh, weird.
Number 7.
I thought I had it. Yeah.
Number 7. Collection with 4.
Words that rhyme with erection.
See? This is where it gets fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is a tell me a word that rhymes with blank.
That's so fucking lazy of a category for their producers.
But anyway, the number 2 answer with 23 is erection. All right.
This was on the show.
It had to be. It had to be one.
Did it have to be?
Because Steve, yeah. I wonder if Steve's okay with medical science words for genitalia and sex, you know. Penis. I'm going to say erection, Steve. Mm-hmm. And he's like, that's good, thank you. Thank you for not saying hard on or boner.
Right.
You know, any of those. You are a civilized person. So now the question is, what was the category word that they used? Tell me a word that rhymes with blank. So far we have section and collection. Number 2 is erection.
Wait, why is it number 2? I thought there was like 8 answers.
It is. Well, I mean, there are.
You at 2?
Well, I was just telling you that erection was number 2 with 23, since you already brought it up. Now we're just trying to figure out what the category is.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 5 other words in this thing, and then, you know.
Words that rhyme with connection.
Dude, that's not even on the list at all. That's weird. Nobody picked that? No, it's not that, and it's not even on the list. That's weird.
Okay. I guess it is weird. No, to the extent 100 other people didn't think of it. But
people
23 thought of erection
over connection.
I don't know, man. Rhyming. There's probably a lot of words that rhyme whatever this word is.
There are so many. It's weird.
Right.
Again, weird.
That's why it's a terrible category. I would literally fire the producer that came up with this. I mean, well, okay, what's the next word?
Rejection.
Words that rhyme with convection. Also not on
protection. Detection.
Words that rhyme with... Oh my...
Isn't this a Metallica song? Rejection. Detection. Erection.
It's gotta be Saint Anger.
It's the Saint Anger. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was inspired by that.
Protection. God damn it. I don't know, man. Yes, rhymes with protection.
Oh, protection is in the list. Okay. Here's a clue for the word that they asked you to rhyme with. It's a movie from the 90s. Starring one Ferris Bueller. a.k.a. Matthew Broderick.
Oh, election.
There it is. Tell me a word that rhymes with election.
Boo.
So yeah, how would that have worked here? All right. This one's going to be as equally fun for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 as well. And again, it's going to be a choosy one.
If it's a rhyming one, I'm quitting. If it's a rhyming
choosy
one,
kids,
I literally am
choose
quitting.
GIF. All right. The number 8 answer with 3 is Hawkeye.
Marvel characters.
All right.
Super.
Well, they said, this is what's interesting, is they said name Marvel's Avengers, and they picked 8 characters. Hawkeye is an 8th.
Please tell me like Batman's on there. Or Superman.
That's what I was wondering. It's not, but I don't know if these are all technically, I don't know how the Avengers work exactly. But who do you think is the number 1 Avenger?
Captain America.
That is correct. Who's the number 2 Avenger? Actually, technically tied for first.
Iron Man.
Wow. Damn. Okay, yeah. 3, you're not going to get.
Okay.
That's your clue.
You're not going to get it. I see. Yeah, now you have me too curious.
Because you would think, who would you put in your top 4 Avengers? Even Spider-Man. I know that. Spider-Man is on there at number 7.
Okay.
So Captain America. Thor is on there. Hulk is on there. He's number Hulk. So we've got Captain America 1. Well, Iron Man 1 also. 3, we don't know. 4 is the Hulk with 15. 4/5 is Thor with 15. Spider-Man and Hawkeye pulling up the rear. 2 other characters as the Avengers. And I don't know that I would have thought of them. They are Marvel characters. They are part of the Avengers franchise. And they both have the same first word in their name.
Black Panther, Black Widow.
Hey, Jeff.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Wow. Wow, dude. Wow. Damn. That was a very healthy W right there. That was good.
Big win.
All right. Here's one. Let's just do one that's more traditional, real. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why do these all have 8? I didn't mean to do that on purpose.
Sure, Matt. Hi,
number.
Matt.
Yeah.
Just quoting what's her face.
7 and 8. 7 and 8 both have 4.
Okay.
Halloween and Fangs.
Things you associate with, vampires.
Damn. Jeez. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know. Here's one. Do you associate this with vampires? How do they put this on here? Dracula. I guess.
Nah, I don't
proper
follow.
Proper noun. What's the number 1 association with vampires?
See, is it a noun?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it
and it is proper. And it is proper.
Oh. Proper noun. It's not Dracula?
No.
Well, America's way
Dracula
too
had 5. Number 1 has 33.
It's not the problem is I'm thinking Nosferatu and Van Helsing. In America is way too dumb to answer both of those so much.
Mm-hmm. You're on the right track. Go dumb. Okay. Go American.
Right. The Wolf Man. It's gonna be something completely wrong. Bats. No, it's a proper noun. What?
Mm-hmm. It's the name
Bram Stoker.
No, you're too highbrow.
Too
you gotta go. You gotta.
Count Chocula.
That's pretty good. That's a good answer. Yeah.
That's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah. It is a movie. It's a movie series.
Oh, Blade?
See, no. You got to think.
Okay.
Most popular. What's the most popular vampire
it's
series?
Fucking Twilight.
Hey, Jeff.
It is Twilight.
God
it is.
Damn it.
Have you ever watched a Twilight series movie?
Did. I went to the movies to see the first one.
Alone?
I went on. Nope, I went on a date. I would have never gone to that movie. I watched it. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm like, now, granted, I don't know if it's good or not, but at the time, I'm like, this is awful. I'm like, I don't like this at all. I think I had to have been like 20, 25, maybe, when they came out. I can't even remember.
That's about right,
when.
like late 2000s, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. 2008. So yeah, 25 would be about right.
Jeez,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, right on the money.
Yeah. No, not for me. And then they released like 4 more movies. I'm like, oh, we're just going to keep doing this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I saw it in Texas when Brett's girlfriend Sarah and her friends, like, I think they watched it, like, did a marathon. So I caught some of it. I don't remember all of it, but it's fun because it's like, it's definitely one of those, they grew up with it, so they were younger, and it kind of hits them a little bit more, like the soundtrack and all that. It's definitely very emo. And, I mean, at their age, it would have been like Robert Pattinson, all day. Or the other guy, the werewolf guy, very hot.
Taylor Lautner.
Yep.
More importantly,
I know Twilight more from the memes.
More importantly, the dad was Mike Dexter from Can't Hardly Wait.
Was he really?
That's the like dad vampire, is the guy who played Mike Dexter. Mike Dexter is a role model.
Oh yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's the most important aspect of the Twilight series.
You're the one, Amanda.
Amanda.
Let me tell you, it was a real treat dating somebody named Amanda for 3 years and
to be able to say Amanda.
Being able to use that. And she didn't know that reference at all. I don't even know how many times.
Then it just sounds brutally mean because you just keep saying Amanda.
I think I still do it to this day. I think so at Auburn Wegmans, I worked with a girl who was like the dairy manager, and I would just still, like, once in a while, I'm pretty sure I would just do that, like, you're the one, Amanda. Just nothing. It's like, that's for me. That's for me. Yeah.
It's weird to quote things to people that don't know the quote, Matt. That
I know.
It doesn't work. Quotes are supposed to be enjoyed betwixt two people.
But as a 40-something white male, our MO isn't to give people quotes they enjoy. It's to give people quotes that are very niche. That's what we do. You know what? Yes. It's like,
I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
Like if you threw that out, like, 1 out of like 20 people would be into it, but then you'd be like, cool.
But if no people are into it, that's a problem.
Yeah. Like when you hear like
jizz, like cum shot.
Like if you ever heard somebody say that, you'd be like, I think you should leave. Yes.
Right. Yeah. But you have to be like, that's why I'm saying, Matt, you're agreeing with me, but you're trying to use it as an argument that it's a one-person show. Oh. Quoting is intended that you're shooting your shot in hopes that they understand it. But if you just kept saying it to this girl, she's probably like, why is he just keeps doing this to me? I'm not sure you're following.
I don't know what
That's
any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared.
So I wanted to bring up, you were witness to a conversation that I had this week. Was it earlier this week? We were going to play some games, and my landlord was over. And so my microphone was on. Like, I was on Discord, and I heard you log in, and I was like, shit. And I was like, have I ever told you about my landlord? And you were like, no. Not like that, but I was like, shit, well, I'll save it for the show. And I don't know how long you heard of it, but it was definitely an abridged version. So I guess I just want to share with you what it's like. And maybe why I'm sharing this, I'm worried I might become this someday. Just kind of an old guy in his 70s who will not release somebody from his conversation to go about their business for the day. So whenever I see him, like I literally make decisions in my life sometimes to try to avoid him. And this is going to make me sound like an asshole, but I don't mind a conversation with him. He's very pleasant. He's a nice guy. You overheard it. He said things like Oriental, and what else did he say? He probably was going on another tangent about people who are lazy, generations who are lazy and don't want to work, or it probably was going into that realm, it's that kind of thing, which is quite the enjoyable conversation.
Very tangential.
Tangential.
Like it was like he thought what he was saying would like segue into the next thing, but it was very not that. Like it was like, yeah, so and then this, and then you're like, well, that's not a segue. Like you're just saying another thought.
He will continue a conversation with me at all costs.
Right.
So it could be raining outside. I have two grocery bags, reusable grocery bags. And I will even say at the beginning of the conversation, oh yeah, I just got some ice cream. So he knows that I've got like frozen goods.
That there's melting ice cream.
Yes. And it will not deter him at all. It's like,
okay.
And then it's like, when the conversation is wrapping up about his job that he used to work in, and this is the 18th time I've heard this story, I will say something like, well, all right then. And then he will say, you guys using plastic bags at Wegmans? I'm like, what? What is that? No, nobody is. He knows nobody does, because I got to buy plastic bags online now. I buy them in bulk, like 1,000 or 2,000 at a time, just because I like to put my use them in the garage. Sometimes I'll like double bag. I'll put screws in them, or I'll use it as a recycling for other plastics. It's like one of those, and I'm like, good,
right?
Good then.
What? This isn't a conversation. You're just saying things. Like that's the weird part. Is it's not even like he's trying to have a conversation. It's I'm just gonna tell you things. That's a conversation, right? Mm-hmm. No, because there's nothing to give back. Like I can't. There's nothing to retort. I can't contribute to this, what you think is a conversation, but it's not. It's you talking at me. And this is the exact reason why the two things are very different.
So that's what, yeah. So he'll just keep it going until you, like, I've literally had the door open. So I can go in the front door or the back door. That's what she said. Right. Or he said. We all said it. I think we talked about it. It was consensual. But he will like prevent, like I'll have a foot in the door. Still like walking, like, I'm like halfway, like I have to scooch, like I'm literally like keep going, like half, like, and it just won't stop until I finally like, I have to go. I'll make it up. I say, I have a video. I think I said that when you were waiting for me on the internet. So I was like, oh, I got a buddy that I'm going to, I don't know, video or go online with or something. He's like, oh, then even then he wanted to engage. He's like, where, Texas?
Well, yeah. He goes, oh, Texas? You're like, no, like Philadelphia. He's like, oh, that's not as far. You can drive there. I'm like, what is he like? Again, it's just saying thoughts. What does that have to do with anything? If I said I was talking to someone online 20 minutes away, what does it matter? It's just thoughts. It's not a conversation. It's vocalizing thoughts.
And I don't know, like, does that just what happens to us? Will we be that? Is that like you just get into your 70s and you're like, everybody's gonna get it?
I assume that's the danger I'm rolling towards, because I see
your dad's got elements of that,
my
right?
own father, yeah. So yeah, I'm just assuming that It's just a matter of time. But yeah, you can't, like, that's not conversation. That's you wanting to hear yourself talk. Those are very, 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 very different things. I like conversation. I wouldn't try to get out of conversation, but that's not conversation.
And he's great because he's the one that I'll see it because whenever there's like work going on the street or something like a cable guy's here or like whoever's reading the meters, the postman, all that. If he gets them, he'll ensnare them. I guess like a Venus flytrap. I'll walk out and I'll see him. He's got one in his web. Those are all different species of and metaphors I'm using, but it's the same idea that he captures them, and I walk by, and that's when I honestly will use that as my escape. Like if I see him, like depending on where my car, like sometimes I park in the street, like when we're gaming, sometimes or if we're hanging out, like I'll be like, oh, I got to move my car because at 6 you have to switch to the other side of the lot, and most people, why don't you just park in your driveway? Because if I do, I will get trapped sometimes. I have to be conscious of that. If I exit my vehicle, because he knows my schedule. He's like, because I've been like hanging out or going out late or whatever. He's like, what do they got you working late? You working late? And I'm like, no. It's like I just go out or see people or it's like like pretty late. And I was like, are you keeping track of my schedule? I don't know. It's kind of
it's not weird because I'm sure it's like he's not that person, but it's just like you can observe. It's again observe, and just because it's a thought that entered your head doesn't mean it's a piece of conversation.
Yeah,
that's just a thought. Oh, it's not saying like, oh Matt, I wonder if he was like home late. You know what? I'll ask him. But it's A, not your business. B, it doesn't matter. Like, don't ask when things don't matter, and don't talk about them, and don't think people want to hear it. Like, I don't know. It's a whole thing for me. It's okay.
It's a delicate balance because I probably, if I was being empathetic and considering where it's coming from, it's a place of, as you grow older, you probably appreciate those moments more. Just the moments you share with people, the conversations, even the minutia of daily life that you can share with people. And, that can be meaningful, but you got to bring something to the table with it, right? You got to have like a question.
Or make it
like,
short. Or it has to be abrupt.
Or read the room at least,
Well, no.
Like, I'm okay to have like
No, reading the room is, that's complete bullshit. Like, dude, this guy's going to read a room? Like, no. What it is you have to understand it's okay to say something to someone every time you see them. What you can't do is mention, like if you're mentioning more than 2 topics, that's not a, hey, what's up? Like you're now just fishing. So it's short, sweet, so that you like to tell them like, hey, I like conversation, but also I'm not here to bug you. You're not planning on having a conversation with me. So like, it'd be one thing to be like, oh, what are you working late? Oh no, I'm just going out. Oh well, have fun. Like you can do that.
I love that.
You can do short, even if it's nonsense. But you can't just like stop what you're doing, walk over to them, and be like, so they got you working late? No, I was just doing something with friends. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like to do stuff for everyone. So, I was working on this. Like, it's like, no. Just one thought.
Let me tell you where I moved my boat. Let me tell you what garage it's in now.
Yeah. Like, stuff like that. It's like, I did something today. I tied my shoe. But then, would you believe this? I was walking around, and I didn't tie it tight enough, and so the shoe came undone. Yep, had to stop, tie the shoe again. Like, that's the type of stories you get sometimes, and it's like, that's wild. Yeah, being safe is important. Yeah. I mean, I got boots that don't really come undone, but these shoes, the New Balance, those, I've had another pair in the past before. Those ones were blue. These ones, as you can see, they're gray. The laces, they don't stay tied as much as they used to. I think they changed the laces over the years because these ones, like I said earlier, I tied them tight. Like I tied them tight, But then when I was walking, they untied, and like I didn't trip or anything, but like I walked down, I looked down, I'm like, geez, like, you know, I'm like, I didn't want to trip, so, you know, I got off to the side of the sidewalk and I tied my shoe over by the laundromat. You ever do the laundry down there? Yeah, that's the one you go. Yeah, you know, I used to go there all the time in the 70s.
Oh my God,
stuff, but
this
yeah,
is
so
exactly
I'm tying
what
my
it's
shoe.
like.
Right, this is. You can just
Pretty soon we cut the chit chat a-hole.
See, I can talk that nonsense that they talk, and it's like none of this is anything. We're not saying anything.
Do you think when we're on like episode 1500 of this program in our 70s, we're going to be talking about the kids who we're renting out rooms to and how they don't want to talk and they're just so focused on work and like going out and they just don't want to have a simple conversation about their shoes? Like these little assholes, and they don't even appreciate life.
I'm requesting.
Like they don't want. They don't want to talk about my frozen shoulder.
Yeah, someone just slap me across the. Yeah. Talk about my frozen shoulder.
Yeah. Because I got surgery on it, so I can talk about it. Why would I get surgery? I'm paying for a conversation here. Come on.
Awful.
America's paying for it. Insurance is paying for it.
Simply awful.
Well, I'd like to say we vamped enough.
Yeah.
To get to the part where we talk about a year of things.
Okay.
Episode 95. The year is 1995. Couple young, strong lads are growing boys. Do we know each other yet, actually, in life?
95. Would that have been the year we technically met? Yeah. No, yeah, because that would have been 7th grade. So 95 would have been 6th grade and then going into 7th. So like that would have been when the friendship really started.
I feel like it did, yeah. Around. Especially in just like 6th, we knew each other, but 7th, it really started.
6th, we knew each other, yeah. 7th, I would say,
maybe
was
summer
more
of
friendships. Yeah.
Knowing mowing between 6th and 7th grade, right?
That was mowing, modified soccer. So yeah, then band trips. Yeah. 95 was probably the summer where it really started taking shape.
I think we talked about it once, but it's worth reminiscing. Knowing mowing. So I was a professional mower of lawns. I had a fanny pack for my CD player, and I would make between $5 and $30 per lawn I would mow. And for some reason, was it like a state law that you had to take a mowing safety course or something like that?
No,
if you were a lawn mowing?
It was for credibility, so that someone like theoretically someone would trust you because you could be like, hey, can I mow your lawn? And then you could show them like your creds and be like, I've even taken a mower safety course. So like, don't worry about your liability insurance. There's a way less chance that I'm going to cut my own hand off on your property. So can I mow your lawn for $10? Yeah. I'm far less likely to die.
I showed up. Yeah. I went to the Auburn Fire Department, one of their stations, and it was going to be there for 2 hours or whatever it was. And it's the basics. It's like, hey, don't go sideways on a hill, that kind of thing. And sure enough, this kid from 6th grade who I knew was there too. We didn't plan on it, and I was very excited too because I read, or part of the program was that, you get a free baseball hat with it too. You're going to get a baseball cap. And I was like, holy shit, we're going to get a Yankees hat with this thing when we're done? We did not. We got a hat that said knowing mowing. And honestly, if we had that hat right now, it'd be a fucking banger hat. It was like red mesh, red brim, and it was white, and it had a lawnmower, and it said knowing mowing. If I had that now, I would probably wear it regularly. It'd be fucking awesome.
Ashton Kutcher wish he had swag like that.
I know.
When the trucker hats came into play.
But yeah, we're still getting dropped off by parents. I think this is where we start maybe biking around town a little bit. Like I'll bike to your place, which is a real bitch because you're up a hill. Kind of sucked.
No one wanted to bike
your
to my
house is in the worst spot in town.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst. It's like I have a 1-speed bike.
Because it was like gradual too. It wasn't like, okay, I have to deal with it for a little bit. It was the
half a
end
mile
of your
hill.
bike ride. It was the end of your bike ride, and it's a half a mile gradual uphill. It's a terrible, terrible concept.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the context for us, where we're in 1995.
Yeah.
Again, as these years go on, everything's like more recognizable, or like easier to like put a time and place with some of these things that I'm experiencing.
Now, I didn't find nearly as much albums in 95. I was actually surprised by how many stood out. And I might have jumped over some, but I was way more taken aback by how many movies are in 1995.
There
really,
are some
the movie
huge
game was
movies.
Solid.
Here, I'm going to throw this one out there just because it was super producer Steve wanted it on there.
Okay.
Do you know what Ernest movie came out in 1995? I've never even heard of this. I didn't even know it was a real thing.
Ooh,
and he's not going somewhere either. He's not going there.
Slam Dunk Ernest?
Yes. Holy fuck,
Let's
dude.
go.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
Hey, Jeff.
Slam Dunk Ernest? I've never even heard of this movie ever. What is it? What is this movie?
I can picture the fucking. I can picture the
fucking
case.
know this? Oh my God.
Man. I mean, it was.
Slam Dunk
trying
Ernest.
to think what the premise was, because I remember renting it from like Wegmans Home Video. I think it's like he, of course, is like a janitor, and he joins like a coworker's like basketball team or something. Like he's like a bench. He's on like the bench, and then he's like given magical shoes by like an angel that makes him be able to do special things, and that angel is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Did Like Mike steal this whole concept from Slam Dunk Ernest? the little Bow Wow vehicle with Michael Jordan shoes.
And that kid from Jerry Maguire, I think, was in Like Mike. I think I might be making that part up.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah, Slam Dunk Ernest. Not one of the
sure
movies
the same
I
movies.
noted.
Billy Madison. Actually, I think I still quote, and actually this is a the Adam Sandler kind of ether is absorbing me at this time, so it's starting to get little snippets, like see the movies, or hear, starting to hear some snippets of albums, all of his comedy albums, because I think one of them came out this year too, probably. I don't remember which one. Yeah, probably. Again, probably a little young. Maybe doesn't hit me just yet as much as it does in the next couple years after this. But the Adam Sandler oeuvre is unleashed on us, which kind of defines a lot of my sensibilities as a person, I would say, still to this day. But yeah, Billy Madison, Tommy Boy, right?
Yeah, Tommy Boy, for sure.
One of the,
so yeah, like,
still to,
I was going to say, I'm looking at the movies, and there's a lot of like, I'm starting to watch movies that I probably shouldn't watch yet. So like 95, you figure we're 11 and 12. So like stuff that you definitely don't get all of the jokes. So like Tommy Boy, Clueless came out this year. Massive. Empire Records.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Empire Records, yeah.
Now I definitely didn't get into Kevin Smith until later, but Mallrats came out that year. But like, so then you have like, okay, combat. As a 12-year-old, who doesn't like combat? So you have Batman Forever, which is like epic because it's like Jim Carrey again.
Joel
and you're
Schumacher.
Like, yeah. You're like Jim Carrey, and then it's got Two-Face. You don't really know Tommy Lee Jones as a kid when you're 12, but like, oh man, Two-Face, this is so cool. And so that was really comic booky. And then we have Mortal Kombat, the movie. So that was, riding the coattails of the craze of the video game. And we're like, holy shit, there's a
action movie.
And it's so bad, but at the time, everyone wanted to see that movie.
I saw it
oh
in
my
the theater.
God.
It has legit,
I
like,
think I did.
We're in the, we're still balancing some of the 80s, like, aesthetic of fighting, which was like everybody fights with karate kind of thing, or kung fu. That's how people fight. There's no real MMA. There's not like tackling or ground game or anything. It's still like, a lot of like just strikes and blocks and all that. But Mortal Kombat kind of nailed it with like a little bit of CGI in there, but fucking Scorpion, Sub-Zero in there. Like some of those fight scenes are epic, and the music. I had the soundtrack on cassette tape, and it was like I got very into, like, what did they call it? How does they call it? Industrial or something like that? Industrial metal. But it was like that's how I got into bands like. You probably like 9 Inch Nails or something was on there, but then like I got really into
Prodigy.
Stabbing Westward, or like one of those kind of like, kind of. It's sort of like it's like metal. But it's got a little bit of like synth to it, but not like 80s synth. It's more like just to like
almost
ambient,
feels like steampunk. Like if you put
Yeah.
steampunk to a
It's like
sound.
steel and smoky metal.
That Stabbing Westward song. I'm trying to think of what.
Shame.
I can't even save myself.
Well, that one's called "Save Myself," I think, or "Save Yourself."
I think it is
But
Save
Shame
Myself.
was a
That's
big
what
one.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Why are you haunting me? All that shit. Too dark for its own good. What a name.
So
too.
then I also have movies like Heavyweights came out that year, and
really,
man. I mean, talking
Sneaky
about
gem.
a chubby 12-year-old being like, wow, a movie about chubby kids. Like, oh, this is great. Ben Stiller, before like we really appreciated Ben Stiller, like, oh my God.
He's like an asshole in that one, right?
Oh, it's
Global
basically the
Gym,
same thing
whatever,
as it's same thing as his character in Dodgeball. Literally, Tony Perkis is White Goodman. Same exact character. But then you have movies I shouldn't have been watching too. Heat and Casino. I definitely saw Casino when I was young. I don't know I saw it the year it came out, but I definitely saw it. So Heat and Casino are definitely movies. Showgirls, Jessie Spano,
That
as
was
we've never seen
95?
her before.
Holy shit.
So like Saved by the Bell had ended like 2 years prior.
Very
and then
sexy.
Another jacked up one is Seven. And I remember watching Seven, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm watching, but I'm fairly certain I shouldn't be watching this. Like, Seven was like my first foray into being like, yo, there's movies like this. Like, this is terrifying. I was horrified by the vibe that Seven gave off. And now, like, watching it as an adult, you're like, damn, it still has that vibe. You're like, man, I don't know how I handled this as like a tween. Like, this is not appropriate for a child. But, I mean, I think it kind of, it's still, you're opening your eyes to being like, wow, movies can be very all over the place. Like, it doesn't just have to be entertaining, meaning I'm laughing, or it's like an adventure movie. Like, because that's what you watch as a kid. It's like, oh, the adventure and like
the
things that are fun
yeah.
and funny. So like when you watch Seven, you're like, oh, movies can do
what's in the
lot
box?
of things. Yeah, this is terrifying to me. Yeah, and as a kid, I'm like, I don't really get it. I'm like, oh, and then you find out later, you're like, oh, it was Gwyneth Paltrow's head. I get it now. That's horrible.
Interesting, is because that it makes me think now that like ushers in, because we. Like mentioned before, in the late 80s, early 90s, like the thrillers of the time were either political, or they always had like sort of like the vixen kind of combo with the male lead, and it was like a lot of that kind of stuff, or like some kind of like personal relationship. But in this, they start with this movie, I think it starts to usher in an era of like darker thrillers and like maybe a little more violent kind of stuff, and I'm sure we'll start seeing those come up. But like where it's a little more warped. I'm just thinking of things like, I don't know, like The Cell, 8mm, like a bunch of stuff that starts coming up where the thrillers have like a very dark tone to them now. It's not so much about...
8mm I didn't watch until I was like 30, and I'm like, oh, that's what this movie was? I'm like, this is pretty fucked up.
It's a few years later.
Messed up.
But starting in the late 90s, they get into this, like, where the thrillers now have to be, like, sort of violent and a little spooky and a little more either supernatural or creepy kind of thing. So
I think I think Wes Craven with Scream opened up the door to a lot of that, even though they're not directly related. I think him turning the horror genre into something more realistic also had the same effect on the dramas being okay with being more scary. So like it almost kind of like started bringing horror and drama closer together, because we got away from like slasher movies and more into like what if horror movies, more similar to like 70s plotline without necessarily the incessant violence.
Speaking of what if horror movies and Scream 3, What If is on that soundtrack by Creed. What if I...
Wow.
We'll probably hear about that later. What a pull, huh? I definitely got that from Columbia House and never paid for it.
The movie I saw in the theater with one other person, Dracula Dead and Loving It. The only empty theater experience I ever had. That came out in 95.
I don't even know if I know this movie. I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
Leslie Nielsen as Dracula.
Oh my God, I do know
so
that
it was
movie.
it was like a Zucker Brothers movie. Like it's that type of movie, like Hot Shots and Airplane and all that.
Yeah.
It was Leslie Nielsen as Dracula.
Wow.
Only empty theater movie I've ever seen. And then I also, Grumpier Old Men, better than Grumpy Old Men. I'll stand by that. Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, Burgess Meredith.
Those are good
Meredith
movies.
Burgess.
I don't remember the difference, but yeah, they're great.
But a new lad who had done so well in TV unexpectedly had two massive movies, just kidding, in 1995.
Oh.
He was known to the world as JTT. Jonathan Taylor Thomas had Tom and Huck.
I don't even know what movies he's in.
Tom and Huck and Man of the House both came out in 95. He was still doing Home Improvement
like Sinbad
at the
or
time.
something?
What? Well, Tom and
Man
Huck
of the
was
House
Huckleberry
was
Finn and
Sinbad?
Tom Sawyer. No, Man of the House was his stepdad was Chevy Chase, and he was trying to get along with him, and like Farrah Fawcett was his mom. George Wendt was in the movie. Great movie.
Yeah, Norm.
Great movie. Yeah. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas trying to make the transition from TV to film, which did not take, America. It did not take. We did not get what we thought we were going to get.
Here's my hipster cool points for seeing this movie in the theaters in 1995. It's the biggest movie that will ever exist, everybody thought at the time. Starring the greatest actor and showman and entertainer of the early 90s. A little ditty called, I shouldn't say that, a little movie called Waterworld.
Ah, I knew that's where you were going.
Dude, I saw it in the theater.
I've still never seen it.
Dude,
I've still never seen it.
It's funny. Like, it was such a bomb. I think I liked it, but it was still one of those, I don't know what's happening exactly, but I think Dennis Hopper's in it, so right off of Speed, which we probably missed from last year. I don't know if it's this year or the year before. Yeah, but Dennis Hopper, hot off of that. But Costner with the gills. He's got the gills and all that. It's the hugest budget. The world is consumed by water, and he's figured out a way to live there and evolve. It certainly is a movie. It's worth watching. I would say that.
It's got to be good. It was expensive, right? It's got to be good because it was expensive.
Braveheart came out that year.
Yeah.
Goldeneye, big Bond movie. Probably the reintroduction of Bond with Pierce Brosnan, ultimately leading to The Game. Brought a new generation into Bond. It's a fine movie. It's hard to think of Bond movies now after Daniel Craig did them. Like they look so cheesy now. A lot of those other ones.
Yeah, was never much of a Bond guy. Still am not. I've seen one Daniel Craig Bond. I saw, actually, I'm pretty sure because of the video game, I saw Tomorrow Never Dies. I think that was the second Pierce Brosnan Bond movie, and I remember
That's
watching
right.
this.
Yeah.
I remember going to the theater to watch it. I'm like, why am I even here? I don't even like this. I'm like, why? I'm like, did I?
I haven't seen the first 23.
Right. I'm so lost. I'm like, why do I think that because I liked the video game that this would pan out?
Well, for music, this is what I had listed because there's a couple big things. Well, number one, I think this is like us getting into Columbia House. CDs are starting to like maybe become part of our world. Still sort of. This is like the first transition year. So I still had cassette tapes. Like, I'm pretty sure, did the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness come out this year? 95?
I felt like that
Smashing
came
Pumpkins?
out in No, I don't think so. I feel like that would have been later.
I thought it did. Well, I'll use it as a an entry point into the conversation of like, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Sorry, you're right.
Okay.
95. Okay.
The double cassette tape, being like one of the most alternative albums ever of like the really like the vibey like slow stuff into like the heavy like Bullet with Butterfly Wings was my favorite song for 8 months, easy. Like The World is a Vampire, all that. And I was like, this song is fucking awesome. And then, but it like the album itself, like really, it's a nice wave to ride and it bounces back and forth. And even like there's some songs I don't think I would listen to on their own per se as like a track or a single, but because of like where they fit, like I just know it, like I know the vibe of it. So that was enjoyable. Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette, probably the biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, you ought to know.
Massive.
Huge that year. Great album too. I've revisited that in the last 5 years.
So good.
It's very good.
Very good.
Foo Fighters' first album came out that year, well, which was really just Dave Grohl.
Yeah, the year that came out, I didn't know the album that well. Only thing I really remembered was Big Me, because it was the Mentos commercial music video. That's that's what stuck out to me. But I'll Stick Around is literally now stands as one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs of all time. I love that song.
Yeah. And Garbage was huge. Everyone was, Butch Vig produced it, and he produced Nirvana Nevermind. So Shirley Manson and Garbage, but the I'm only happy when it rains. Like that was a banger that year.
It was.
I don't know why people loved it. I don't remember any other Garbage songs, but
nope.
That was huge. Presidents of the United States of America.
Absolutely. Love that album.
Millions of Peaches. And then Lump. Obviously a big influence on Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
With Gump. And What If God Was One of Us, Jeff? Just a slob like one of us. Remember? That was like way too big. That song was by Joan Osborne. Was way too big.
Joan Osborne. That's right. I'm like,
what
wow,
if
you can
God
have
was one of us?
I feel like Joan Osborne had a pierced nose, and it was like my introduction to the fact that people could have pierced noses. Yes.
Yeah. Especially ladies.
Right? What a rebel. We mentioned it last year, but my records show that What's the Story Morning Glory is actually a 95 banger.
We did. Yeah, I saw that too. Because I think definitely Maybe came out in 94.
Massive female vocals. This is the explosion of No Doubt with Tragic Kingdom. Spiderwebs.
Oh, it comes out in 95. No shit.
Spiderwebs and Don't Speak were and Just a Girl.
Well, Just a Girl was the first single off of that.
Incessantly. Yeah, it was Just a Girl, then Spiderwebs, and then Don't Speak.
Good. Man, what a huge... I mean, they blew up. That is actually Tragic Kingdom. Ooh, I might revisit that this week. It is... I think I have in the last 10 years, but I might check that one out again.
The self-titled track is really killer.
On my little hike this week that I do on the nature trail, I did listen to What's the Story Morning Glory, the Oasis album, and it does hold up very well. Enjoyed it very much, so now I will do that. The first Columbia House CD I ever received whether I wanted to or not. And actually, you know what? I don't know if I meant to. So my first CD ever was Silverchair Frog Stomp. But then this album had come out in 95, Space Hog, Resident Alien.
Oh, wow.
In the Meantime, which still holds up. That's a great song. If you haven't heard it, YouTube it. It's just so, it'd be a great karaoke song. But Space Hog, that one stuck with me. That's where I'm getting into melodies and just like that kind of feel. But still a fun year for music.
I'd like to drop
video
Green
games.
Day Insomniac.
Oh,
Green
was that
Day
95?
Insomniac was massive. Mm-hmm.
That's right away, huh? They come right out.
That was huge. And then actually my introduction to Ozzy Osbourne, Osmosis, came out that year. And my brother had that album.
Yes.
And
Perry Mason?
Perry Mason was on that album. And I remember this is the... So like that was huge for me because that was my first exposure to Ozzy.
This is Zakk Wylde Ozzy. Yeah. Zakk Wylde, Robert Trujillo. that outfit of Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah. Fuck, you know what? That is, because that reminds me of like being in middle school. We might have been in the same math class, and I think you might have actually tricked me into getting Columbia House because of that album.
Maybe.
That's how it might have. I'm seeing it now. I'm like visually nostalgic about seeing and talking about those things. And I got Osmosis and Blizzard of Oz as part of my 12 CDs for 1 cent. And again, I don't know. I wasn't tricked. They were tricked. I was never going to pay them. I don't understand. How do you let a 12-year-old? How do you give them credit for? Yeah, I don't. Not going to pay. I don't have collateral.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Who are
you guys
pursuing?
are dumb.
Who are you pursuing? Bogart Jones?
I know. I did. I made up all those names. Do you remember that? I used to make up like. I did it like a few times with different names. Like you could just do that. Nobody would stop you. It was insane.
Nope.
The only thing I'll mention with games, because like this is the era of like video games, like sequels are starting to really blow up now.
Yeah.
Like,
not a lot of original stuff happening.
The one that is original, that consumed a lot of my life in the late 90s, once I especially got the Gateway 2000 PC that had come out this year, was a game called Command and Conquer. And a few years later, there's one called Red Alert. And it's like a real-time strategy game where you have to use your mouse and click on a group of little soldiers, and you go to this place. And you click on a little truck and you go, hey, go mine this ore. And then you say, I'm going to build a power plant and put it here. I'm going to build a Tesla coil to defend my plant. And I'm going to build this and I'm going to do. And it was like those. And you remember, because like the similar game to that you used to play, like you played Warcraft, right? The original
original
I had it
Warcraft.
too. Yeah, before it was World of Warcraft, but it was the same type of game, which was like this real-time strategy. You build your units, you build your buildings, you explore the map. And all that. And that was like mind-blowing to me, those kinds of games. And Command and Conquer, you can still buy today, like, whatever, the 95 till whatever 2000s, like all the different versions of it for like $20 or something still. Because people still love it. Still love playing those games in Red Alert. That was a huge, huge PC game that came out that year that had a very special place in my heart.
Some notable. I noted some TV things too. So some TV.
What you got?
One that stuck out was Will Ferrell was introduced to the world as a cast member of SNL when we were 12.
That was his first one?
Yeah,
first year.
No
kidding.
Right, and I don't have much knowledge of like Will Ferrell before like high school, but maybe I just wasn't watching SNL. Right, because we were watching more so because Comedy Central used to run old SNLs. So at
the old
12
ones,
years old,
or the
we
early
were probably
90s
watching
ones,
the early 90s SNL reruns. But anyway, MTV, Singled Out and Road Rules both started in 1995. So MTV really started coming into their own with those two shows being like, wait, if people are going to watch Real World, we can do this Road Rules thing. Singled Out is all about dating. It introduced us all to Jenny McCarthy as well as Carmen Electra. Not to mention, and Chris Hardwick. Don't worry, Chris Hardwick. We didn't forget about you. But WCW Nitro started that year. as competition with WWF, and Mad TV started in 1995, and
wow,
that
really?
I
know. I thought it started
really
later.
Enjoying I enjoyed Mad TV more than SNL for a few years for sure. Like I would
Do you remember
watch
picking
MT,
up a Mad magazine here or there, or a Cracked magazine, once in a while at Faye's drugstore, just once,
or the Owasco Pharmacy is where I would pick it up. Yep, you'd go to Faye's
because
you
Pharmacy.
over on
Holy shit!
On Nelson Street, yeah, we'd go to Faye's, but if it was at my house, we'd go to Owasco Pharmacy on Owasco Road, and they would have those types of magazines, comedy magazines, and I'm like, these things are great because when they would do like parodies, man, does a 12-year-old kid love a good parody drawing? Waka waka.
And it's also like, as you say that, I think this is the year that I'm starting to get into radio a little bit. Like I remember I had a clock radio, no big deal, in my room that I could listen to at night and nobody could stop me if I turned it down to a reasonable volume. So, or in the morning. So in the morning, I'm starting to, on terrestrial radio, listen to Howard Stern.
Wow.
Like I remember that, like sort of hearing some of this shit. And then at night, Loveline, Adam Carolla, Dr. Drew, like listening to like this shit that it was just a regular radio show on at night. I don't know if it was on like Fridays or Saturdays or something like that, but I remember like having it on and I would just die laughing and I didn't know why, but it was like, cause they were saying words about sex, Yep. It's like, they were talking about
nothing
sex
is making sense to you.
Yeah. No, doesn't. But when like they would make fun of the people calling in or something like that, I was just dying.
You're like,
I know. Yeah, they do have herpes on their mouth probably. Whatever that is. That's funny.
But
that's funny. Yeah.
So one thing I didn't know is that one other piece of TV I wanted to mention, and not because I saw it, because I didn't see any of it, but are you aware that, like we talked about last episode, 1994 was the year of Jim Carrey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that because of that year, every one of those 3 movies got an animated cartoon series? There was an Ace Ventura cartoon that started in 95, the Mask, the animated series, and Dumb and Dumber, the animated series. Now, none of those had Jim Carrey in them, but the characters all had cartoons that at least went 2 seasons.
I can like visualize the Dumb and Dumber one in my head for like the one episode or whatever that I saw of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to read you the plot line of it, or the premise. The premise of Dumb and Dumber the cartoon, the animated series, says the cartoon revolves around the continued misadventures of Lloyd and Harry after reacquiring their dog-shaped van, now named Otto. It also
dog-shaped van.
It also features a new character, Kitty, a female pet purple beaver who appears to be smarter than both men. What?
Is that their way to bring it to the children? You need a cat, like
a purple beaver named
Kitty. Beaver,
yeah.
Okay.
I have no. I'm like, I do not remember this.
That's got to be on YouTube
at all.
It must be.
I guess.
You know, like all the shit that's from that era.
Cartoon.
Like we talk about the Mario show. All that stuff's on YouTube. It's got to be. I'm gonna look that up. I have to know. I gotta know. Well, the thing is, like, Jim Carrey's not involved in these in any way. No. At all. They're just totally exploiting his fame to try to like just make money off of it.
Trick people into being like, you liked this movie, right? What if there was a whole animated series of it?
No shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've done enough. Sunday night. We're killing it out here, dude.
Yeah.
We're approaching episode 100 of this program, which is wildly insane. I have an idea. Maybe I'll pitch it to you off air about something I want to do. Or I'll pitch it to you next week live on air. It won't be live. About what maybe we could do for 100. Next week's episode, 96, will feature the year 1996, which to me is in my Mount Rushmore of years in my life.
Wow.
And I think I have a few reasons why. But for some reason, it sticks out to me for several reasons. And we will get into that. But also, it will be Thanksgiving week.
Yes.
When it's released.
Yes. Yes, it'll be on Thanksgiving Eve.
What do you say? Hey, what do you say? We have a little Thanksgiving feast draft. Maybe a little, like 5 items a person, something like that. So we'll select our items, and I don't know, what direction do you want to go? Do you want to go traditional, or I was thinking like pick items that you would actually want for your feast. I don't mean like be like crazy weird, like, oh, I want McDonald's for Thanksgiving, but I had some orphan Thanksgivings in Texas, or with some, you know, when you live somewhere in a city with people that aren't from there, you have these orphan Thanksgivings, and you kind of like, you don't always go traditional, but you have things that it's still like a meal. There's still like a protein or a meat. There's like sides and stuff like that. But I was thinking I might include something like that for like my ideal like Thanksgiving feast in a way. So, and some maybe
that's tough.
Okay, we'll think about it. But I think let's do a little Turkey Day draft next week.
I agree.
Or maybe turkey won't be involved at all. Who knows? You know. So maybe think of the traditional items, maybe some untraditional ones. But yeah, let's do a little drafties.
Okay.
Of the Thanksgivings. Let's give people something to like, because when people are flying home for Thanksgiving and they're listening to our podcast, or driving home and listening to our podcast, we want to like get them in the spirits of it all. Yeah, when they're stuck, like John Candy and Steve Martin, trying to get home. We'll give them what they need, and it will be free, like it always is. You guys, you know, we give you free entertainment all the time. Except for the people that put thousands and thousands of cents into this program. We appreciate you.
You chose to.
And
that's on you.
Yeah. So be well. That's it. That's the end. Have a great week. And I am vamping to the end. Yes, it wasn't going to work, and it does.
Flawless.
It's like, it wasn't working.